everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep into something pretty fascinating today. And, when I first started looking at this, I thought, oh, this is just going to be another Christmas celebration. But I was so wrong.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
It's so much more than just a holiday. It's this vibrant expression of faith community and Ethiopian cultural identity.
Yeah.
It's really woven into the fabric of Ethiopian history and offers a unique perspective on the Nativity story.
Okay, so obviously it's tied to the Nativity story,
Right.
But what really makes the Ethiopian celebration so unique? What sets it apart from, other Christmas traditions around the world?
Well, a couple things. First, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church actually follows the Julian calendar.
Oh.
So Gena falls on January 7th. But it's really the way that they interpret and celebrate certain elements of the story that stand out. For example, there's this fascinating emphasis on the gifts brought by the Magi.
Oh, tell me more about that.
So, the gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, right?
Yeah.
They take on a much deeper symbolic meaning in Ethiopian tradition. Gold represents the kingship of Christ. Frankincense is divinity.
Okay.
And myrrh foreshadows his sacrifice.
Wow.
And these interpretations are woven into hymns, sermons, even the visual arts surrounding Gena.
So it's like each element of the story is kind of unpacked and explored with this distinctly Ethiopian lens.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm also curious about the historical aspect of Gena. This article mentions early Christian saints and martyrs who played a significant role in shaping the church in Ethiopia.
Absolutely. Figures like Saint Frumentius,
Okay.
who brought Christianity to the region in the 4th century,
Wow.
are highly revered. Yeah. And Gena serves as a way to honor their legacy and acknowledge the deep roots of faith in the Ethiopian culture. You can't really separate the history of the church from the celebration of Gena itself.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah. It's like a direct link to the people who came before and paved the way for the traditions that we see today.
Exactly.
Awesome. Speaking of traditions, though, you can't talk about Gena without talking about the whole fasting and prayer that comes before it.
Absolutely.
The article mentions, I think it was like a 40-day fast leading up to Christmas. Is that similar to Advent in Western Christianity?
There are definitely parallels to Advent. You have the emphasis on spiritual preparation. But the Ethiopian fast is known as Samnebiat, or the Fast of the Prophets. And it specifically commemorates the prophets who foretold the coming of Christ.
Okay.
So it's a time of intense reflection and spiritual renewal.
So are there different types of fasting during this period?
Yeah, there's definitely variations depending on individual observance. Some people abstain from all animal products, while others follow a vegan diet. The intensity varies.
Yeah.
But the core principle is discipline and, drawing closer to God in preparation for the celebration of Christ's birth.
It seems like Gena is so much more than just like a day of feasting or gift giving.
Right.
It's a deeply rooted spiritual practice and a real commitment to faith.
Exactly. And that commitment culminates in this truly powerful experience, the Midnight Mass on Christmas Eve.
Okay, so the article described this Mass as like incredibly moving. What makes it so special?
Okay, so imagine this. It's a cold January night. You've been fasting and praying for weeks. And then just as the clock strikes midnight, churches across Ethiopia erupt in this symphony of chanting hymns, the reading of Scripture. It's a deeply spiritual experience that connects you not only to the birth of Christ, but also to the centuries of faith that have led to that very moment.
Wow, that sounds so immersive. Like you're stepping back in time and experiencing something ancient and timeless all at once.
You got it. And then after this profound spiritual experience, there's kind of a shift to something a bit more lighthearted.
Oh yeah, the article mentioned that there's a traditional game that's associated with Gena.
Oh yeah, it's called quite simply Gena.
Okay.
It's kind of like field hockey played with curved sticks and a ball.
Okay.
Yeah. The fascinating thing is it's not just a game.
Right.
It's a symbol of the shepherds who, according to Ethiopian tradition, were playing a similar game when they received the news of Christ's birth.
Wait, so the game itself is rooted in the Nativity story. That's such a cool detail.
Yeah.
Wow, it's like they've woven their history and their faith into every aspect of the celebration.
It really is. And, beyond the rituals and traditions, there's another element of Gena that I find particularly captivating, and that's the storytelling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for a good story, especially one tied to such a meaningful event.
Right. Well, Ethiopian tradition is filled with these incredibly rich stories and legends surrounding the Nativity. They often embellish the biblical accounts, adding layers of cultural significance and symbolism.
Okay, give me an example. What kind of stories are we talking about?
Well, there's one about King Herod, who, as sought to kill the infant Jesus.
Right.
In the Ethiopian version, he's tricked by a clever midwife who hides Jesus and presents him with another baby instead.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty dramatic twist.
Yeah.
It's amazing how these stories take like these familiar elements and weave them into something completely new and captivating.
Yeah, and they're not just entertaining tales.
Right.
These stories carry profound messages about faith, morality, even social justice. They're a way to transmit values and beliefs across generations, and they offer a unique window into the Ethiopian worldview.
It's like they're using storytelling to explore like the deeper meaning of the Nativity and its relevance to their lives.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that these stories aren't static. They evolve and adapt over time, reflecting the changing social and cultural landscape of Ethiopia.
Even though these traditions are, deeply rooted in the past, they're not stuck there. They're kind of evolving alongside the people who celebrate them.
Exactly. And that brings us to a crucial point. Gena, like many traditions around the world, is at a crossroads. It's grappling with the challenges and opportunities of a rapidly changing world shaped by globalization and technology.
Okay, and this is where things get really interesting. I'm curious to explore how Gena is navigating this modern landscape.
Yeah.
What are some of the key issues at play here?
Well, one of the biggest questions is how to preserve the core values and traditions of Gena,
Right.
while also making it relevant to younger generations
Yeah.
who are growing up in a vastly different world.
That's a challenge that so many cultural and religious traditions are facing, right? It's like, how do you bridge that gap between the old and the new without losing the essence of what makes it special?
Exactly, and that's where we'll pick up after a quick break.
Okay.
We'll delve into the specific ways technology, globalization, even social media are impacting the way Gena is celebrated today, and what it means for the future of this remarkable tradition.
All right, sounds good.
Don't go anywhere.
All right, so we're back and ready to unpack some of these challenges and opportunities facing Gena in our modern world. You mentioned technology and globalization, and I mean, those are some pretty massive forces at play. What are we seeing in terms of their impact on Gena?
Well, one of the most immediate impacts is the way technology connects people across geographical boundaries. Imagine families who are spread across the globe, maybe due to migration,
Right.
who can now participate in Gena celebrations virtually. Social media platforms become spaces for sharing photos, recipes, stories,
Yeah.
creating a sense of community even from afar.
It's like bringing a piece of home to those who are far away. But does that digital connection, I guess, enhance the experience, or is there a risk of diluting its traditional essence?
That's a really good question, and it's actually a source of debate within the Ethiopian Orthodox community.
Oh, okay.
Some argue that virtual participation can never replace the tangible experience of being physically present at a church service
Right.
or a family gathering. Others see technology as a tool to bridge gaps and strengthen connections that would otherwise be impossible.
It's like anything else. Technology is a tool, and it really depends on how we use it that shapes its impact.
Yeah.
What about the role of technology in actually experiencing Gena? The article mentioned live streaming of church services. Is that becoming more common?
Absolutely. Live streaming has become increasingly popular, especially for those who are unable to attend church in person,
Right.
whether it's due to illness, distance, mobility issues.
Okay.
This allows them to experience the sights and sounds of the midnight mass, feel connected to their community, and partake in that spiritual atmosphere of Gena from wherever they are.
It's really incredible. It opens up the celebration to a whole new audience.
Yeah.
What about, though, the younger generation? Those who've kind of grown up in this digital world, are they as connected to these ancient traditions?
That's where I think the role of education becomes really crucial. The article emphasizes this need for the church to actively engage younger members, explaining the why behind the what of Gena's rituals.
Right.
Because without that understanding,
Yeah.
traditions can easily become just hollow gestures.
Yeah, you need that context to really appreciate it and connect with a deeper meaning, right?
Exactly. It's not just about performing the rituals. It's about understanding their significance, the stories they tell, the values they embody. And there's a real push to create engaging programs and platforms that connect younger generations to the richness of their heritage in ways that resonate with them.
It's not about clinging to the past. It's
Right.
about finding ways to make it relevant to the present.
Exactly.
I like that. The article also mentioned Gena gaining global visibility.
Yeah.
How is that playing out?
I think as the world becomes more interconnected, there's a growing interest in diverse cultural and religious traditions.
Yeah.
And Gena, with his unique blend of history, faith, vibrant celebration, it has this potential to capture the imagination of a global audience.
It's like offering a glimpse into a world that so many people might never have even known existed.
Yeah.
What kind of impact could that have?
Well, increased visibility could lead to greater understanding and appreciation of Ethiopian culture and the Orthodox Christian tradition.
Right.
It could spark curiosity, encourage cultural exchange, even attract tourism.
Like opening a window to a different world and inviting people to come in and experience it for themselves.
Exactly.
But with all this talk about change and adaptation, is there a risk of kind of losing the essence of Gena amidst all this modernization?
It's a valid concern and one that the article addresses directly. The key, it argues, is finding a balance. Honoring the past while being open to new ways of expressing and experiencing faith and tradition. It's about finding that sweet spot where tradition and innovation can coexist, where the core values of Gena are preserved, but allowing it to evolve in a way that resonates with future generations.
It's like that delicate dance between holding on to what's precious, but also making space for what's new.
Exactly. And this isn't a passive process.
Right.
This requires a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
You know, the church community leaders, families, individuals, all have a role to play in ensuring that Gena thrives in a changing world.
I feel like Gena is at this really pivotal moment.
Yeah.
It's holding on to this incredible legacy, but also navigating the complexities of the modern world. I mean, it's a story that resonates far beyond Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Kind of speaks to those challenges and opportunities facing so many traditions and communities all over the globe.
Absolutely. And it highlights the importance of, understanding and appreciating the richness and diversity of human experience.
Yeah, we started by talking about these really unique aspects of Gena, and it's fascinating to see how those elements, its deep roots in history and faith, the vibrant celebrations, the emphasis on storytelling, those are also the tools it's using to navigate this modern landscape.
It's a testament to the resilience of tradition and the power of human connection.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground today, but before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something that really struck me. The idea of storytelling as like a central part of Gena. It seems like more than just entertainment.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
The stories and legends surrounding the Nativity are so much more than just tales. They're vessels of wisdom, moral guidance, spiritual reflection. They transmit values, reinforce cultural identity, and connect generations through shared narrative.
It's like they're using storytelling to bring the past to life and make it relevant to the present.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that storytelling isn't just a form of entertainment. It's this powerful tool for building community understanding meaning.
I think that's something we can all relate to regardless of our cultural or religious background.
Yeah.
Stories have a way of connecting us to something bigger than ourselves.
And that's the beauty of Gurian. It invites us to step into a world rich with history, faith, and tradition, and to discover the power of storytelling as a way to make sense of the world around us.
What a beautiful way to put it. Gurian is this testament to the enduring power of faith, heritage, and storytelling. And as we've explored today, it's a tradition that's embracing the future while honoring its past.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great note to end on.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Gena, we want to leave you with this thought. How do your traditions navigate that balance between old and new? What stories and rituals hold deep meaning for you, and how are you keeping them alive in today's world? We've explored the fascinating world of Gena, but now we want to hear from you. Share your reflections, your stories, and your insights on how traditions are evolving in your own life and community. Head over to our website, join the conversation, and let's continue this exploration together. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those traditions alive. Wow, it's amazing how much you can learn from really taking a deep dive into a tradition like Gena. It's like this reminder that even as a constantly changing world, there's so much value in preserving and understanding our cultural and religious heritage.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's so fascinating about Gena is that it really offers a unique perspective on these challenges that so many traditions are facing, Like, how do we honor our past while also embracing the future?
Right.
How do we make these ancient practices relevant to younger generations, growing up in a completely different world than the one where these traditions originated?
I mean, those are questions we're all grappling with in some way, right?
Absolutely. And that's why I think Gena's story is so important, because it shows us that it's not this either proposition.
Right.
It's not about clinging to the past or just blindly embracing every new trend.
Yeah.
It's about finding that balance,
Right.
finding that sweet spot where tradition and innovation can coexist.
Like you said earlier, it's about understanding the why behind the what.
Exactly.
And once you have that foundation, then you can explore how those core values and beliefs can be expressed in new and meaningful ways.
Exactly. And that requires, a willingness to be open-minded to have those conversations, to work together to find solutions that honor both the past and the future.
It's about bridging those generational gaps, sharing stories, and finding common ground.
And it's about recognizing that tradition isn't static.
Right.
It's this living, breathing thing that evolves and adapts over time.
And I think Gena is the perfect example of that.
Yeah.
This tradition that's deeply rooted in history and faith, but also embracing new technologies, connecting with a global audience, finding really creative ways to engage those younger generations. I think it's a testament to the resilience and adaptability of human culture.
For sure. And it's a good reminder that even amidst rapid change, there's this deep human need for connection,
Right.
belonging for something that anchors us to something larger than ourselves.
Yeah.
And traditions like Gena offer that sense of grounding, that sense of continuity,
Yeah.
that link to the past that helps us navigate the present and the future.
So as we kind of wrap up our deep dive into the world of Gena, we want to leave you with this thought. How do your traditions navigate this balance between old and new?
Yeah, what stories and rituals hold deep meaning for you? And how are you keeping them alive in today's world?
We've had an amazing time exploring the world of Gena, but now we want to hear from you. Share your reflections, your stories, and your insights on how traditions are evolving in your own life and community. You can head over to our website, join the conversation, and let's keep this exploration going together. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those traditions alive